name is Jasper van S, but in English more Jasper van S. And I'm an independent curator and producer from the Netherlands, from Eindhoven, the south of the Netherlands. And I created a show called Viral Venice, which I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how the internet, well, at least what I think, how the internet changed graffiti.
В принципе, понятно все, да, его зовут Джаспер, он из Голландии создал свой независимый проект по внедрению граффити в интернет-пространство.
So I work on different kind of projects.
Я работаю над различными вариантами проектов.
So mostly within the field of urban interventions and art, but also in the field of publishing. So I'm also part of the Unlock Fair, which is a publishing book fair about graffiti and street art.
Ну, я создаю не только независимые проекты, которые касаются уличного искусства, но и также публикую некоторые статьи и книги в этой сфере.
And one quick thing, like if you have any questions, or there's like a word or a term I use and you don't understand it, just stop me. Also, if you have a question, just stop me and I answer the question.
Если есть какие-то вопросы по терминологии, слова, которые непонятны, то есть работаем в онлайн-режиме, можно просто поднять руку, спросить.
So we have a small group, so we can have much more conversation maybe. So in May 2017, so last year, I created a show called #Viral Vandals in MU, an art space in Eindhoven.
В прошлом году я создал шоу. What kind of? The show.
The show was about how online, about the second life of graffiti, how the internet changed the graffiti scene.
В основе которого лежало изменение, как граффити изменяет интернет-пространство.
Like I always like to say, like graffiti started in public space, but now the main space where people see it, where it happens, is the digital space, the online space.
Как люди его воспринимают и видят в онлайн и диджитал пространстве.
Also, one other thing I would like to mention, when I talk about graffiti, and this is my personal view, I think I always think about illegal graffiti. So the city bombing and city bombing, maybe I explain, like the tags and the graffiti on the streets and the trains, and not so much the murals, the legal walls.
И одна из самых основных идей, которых я представляю, this is what kind of?
Like commissioned jobs. Like when I talk about graffiti, I mean like the illegal, the tags and the trains, and where they paint the walls in the streets and the trains. Not so much the commission to commercial graffiti.
Но это дело не касается коммерческих каких-то проектов, но касается в основном общественного, грубо говоря, восприятия того, как граффити используется в уличном искусстве.
So I was a graffiti writer myself for years.
Я занимался граффити самостоятельно в течение многих лет.
And I kind of stopped because I felt like graffiti kidnapped itself. Graffiti put itself inside of a box. Do you understand? No?
Inside of a box?
Yeah, like there were some rules within the field of graffiti.
Сфера граффити касалась воплощения определенных правил.
For a culture which is free, there were still rules on what should be graffiti and what is not graffiti, and you need outlines and all kinds of things in your graffiti to be considered graffiti. So there was not a lot of creativity in graffiti.
Ну, не было такого количества креативного творческого восприятия граффити, как оно есть сейчас, и сейчас оно достаточно широко применяется и развивается.
And but then when the internet came, there was like a shift, and this is why I'm going to talk about this shift.
Ну и, соответственно, с приходом интернета в нашу жизнь, оно, соответственно, изменяется и внедряется уже повсеместно.
So this is how graffiti was documented and published for many years before the internet.
Это то, что было опубликовано задолго до того, как интернет стал очень активно использоваться в повседневной жизни.
So it was either magazines or video tapes
Это
or
были
books.
записи, видео, журналы, книги.
And the focus was really on the graffiti piece, so really on the aesthetic of the graffiti.
И очень большое внимание уделялось эстетике и то, как оно распределялось и рисовалось на отдельных объектах.
But personally, me, I'm not very interested in the aesthetics of graffiti. I like the culture.
Но меня не особо интересует эстетика в рисовании в самого граффити. Меня интересует сама культура его внедрения.
The do-it-yourself mentality, the preparation, the action, but also very much the documentation.
Documentation, what you mean?
The photo and the videos of the
Ну,
action.
соответственно, меня больше интересует, как оно продвигается, соответственно, в массах.
Because for me personally, this was kind of boring.
Ну, для меня это вообще было, скучновато.
Because there's lots of similarities and they all look the same from a distance.
Ну, с какого-то определенного расстояния все это выглядит одинаково, на мой взгляд.
And then the internet came.
А потом пришел интернет.
This is a piece by Mobster from London. I like this a lot because it refers to the tag online. In English this is called a hashtag.
Ну, соответственно, хэштег, который во все используют.
And before the internet, you either see the graffiti in the magazines or VHS, and of course in the streets. When you sit in the train or you take the car, you see the graffiti on the streets. But now, because of the internet, you see it on your phone.
Но сейчас из-за обширного использования интернета, соответственно, вы можете видеть все это у себя в телефонах, не только на поездах, на улицах и на всех общественных зданиях.
And sometimes I like to compare graffiti with advertising. So before the internet, the advertising was on the street. So also the graffiti writers were on the street. Now the advertising is on the internet, on your phone. So it makes sense that now also the graffiti writers is going to your phone.
Я пытаюсь сравнивать периодически использование граффити с рекламой, с объявлениями, как это все воспринимается ментально.
And I think this shift of audience, so your audience is not, the graffiti writer's audience is not on the street, but it's on the internet. And this shift made it more creative.
Ну и, соответственно, произошел сдвиг формирования и восприятия того, что было на улицах, и то, как вы воспринимаете граффити уже в интернете, используя различные технологические вспомогательные вещи.
So the show I made with these artists are all artists, either graffiti artists or art artists, who understand this shift of the street towards online.
Ну и, соответственно, презентация, которую я сделала, она касается создателей граффити, то, как они воспринимают вот этот вот сдвиг из реальности в интернет-пространстве.
Because I think the essence of graffiti is self-promoting.
Ну и, соответственно, основная задача и смысл граффити – это самопродвижение.
So we created an exhibition.
Мы создали, соответственно, выставку.
And we built all the walls.
Построили все эти стены.
And we divided in 4 areas.
И разделили его на 4 части.
So one area is like the station, the train station.
Ну, одна, соответственно, стена как
with the white tiles, the white. So we had a good opening, lots of graffiti writers. So this was after the opening. And we had spaces like this, where it's more like the underground subway station, where the trains are parked in the night.
Ну, соответственно, здесь представлено как метро, одна из станций.
More the stones, the train station, or the yard, the train, where they are parked outside. And also like street. So 4 areas. And I work together with this guy, good guy Boris.
Мы работали вместе с Борисом.
I'm right in front of the name. Maybe it's better if we need to stand there. You can read the names.
Good guy. Yeah.
Good guy Boris, and he is an internet superhero. He is a guy, a graffiti writer, but also a publisher who works a lot on social media and the internet.
Ну, соответственно, очень известный человек, который не только в книге пишет, но и публикуется в различных изданиях.
So he creates videos under the name The Grifters. Up there. It's a collective of people, and they make videos, books, exhibitions, clothing, all kinds of stuff relating to graffiti.
Ну, соответственно, они создают все то, что касается граффити. Книги, журналы.
And just like me, also good guy Boris is interested in everything around the graffiti.
Ну, соответственно, он интересуется всем, что касается граффити в любых сферах и направлениях.
And he made, with the grifters, he got a lot of followers. So many people start seeing the videos, start following the Instagrams and the Facebooks.
Соответственно, он имеет очень много последователей, которые начали следить за ним в интернете, соответственно, в Инстаграме.
So people like him. So I talked about graffiti being inside of this box, and he broke open the box, and now graffiti is more free again, more creative.
Ну, соответственно, в граффити приобрело более такую творческую направленность, говоря, вышло из одной коробки и стало очень популярным.
Because I have to explain two things. One is that self-promotion in graffiti for many years was not okay.
Соответственно, ну, самопродвижение в части граффити много лет не было настолько успешным и популярным.
Because this was considered more like commercial. Self-promotion, you should be on the streets, not on the internet. Your graffiti should be on the streets everywhere.
Соответственно, все касалось исключительно коммерческой сферы, да, вы видели граффити исключительно на улицах, но не в интернете.
But I like to say that graffiti is maybe like a sport, because it is a competition.
Ну, соответственно, граффити в какой-то мере это как спорт и соревнования.
Because every writer is trying to be number one and get the most fame.
Ну, соответственно, любой из людей, которые граффити занимаются, соответственно, старается быть выше и приобретает большую популярность.
That's why I think the actual graffiti piece, the actual piece, is not the art, but it's the documentation of the act.
Ну, соответственно, это не только часть определенного искусства, но и как документ определенного действия.
It's more about the performance.
Это как представление, как шоу.
It's like I said, it's a competition. But when you start as a small kid painting graffiti, your competition is the other kids from your area.
What you mean?
Like when I paint graffiti, I write my name everywhere, Jasper.
Yeah.
But you also write your name everywhere.
Ага.
So you're my competition.
Ну, соответственно, мы соревнуемся друг с другом. То же самое он пытался объяснить на примере детей. Как если один ребенок что-то рисует, да, в части граффити, соответственно, если другие начинают рисовать, получается, ну, соревновательный такой.
So, for example, if a young kid in this area of St. Petersburg starts painting, the other kids from his neighborhood are his competition, who also paint.
Ну, соответственно, приобретает разряд соревнования между детьми.
But when you get more serious and you start painting more and more and more, your competition also grows.
Ну, соответственно, если вы рисуете все больше и больше, становитесь серьезнее и серьезнее, соответственно, соревновательный аспект приобретает больший уровень.
But when you are putting your work online, you not only compete with the people from your town, but you also compete with the rest of the world who puts the graffiti online.
Ну, соответственно, если вы что-то размещаете в интернете, соответственно, вы соревнуетесь не только с теми, кто этим занимается, но и с еще большей аудиторией по всему миру.
So the graffiti writer from St. Petersburg, he has to compete with the graffiti writer from Tokyo and the graffiti writer from Paris, for example.
Ну, соответственно, создатели граффити в Санкт-Петербурге соревнуются с другими граффити-мастерами в мире.
So the graffiti writer, they have to be clever and creative to be number one, because there's so many competition.
Соответственно, тот человек, который граффити занимается непосредственно, должен быть очень умным, образованным и иметь стремление расти вверх для того, чтобы соревноваться с другими.
I like to compare. This was also in the exhibition.
Это тоже была выставка. Мне хотелось сравнить ее.
I made a fake train with the TVs replacing the train windows.
Мы создали фейковый поезд. With what?
The TVs are like the train windows.
Соответственно, телевизоры были как окна в поездах.
Because I think because nobody is like this in the train. Everybody is like this in the train.
Ну, для того, чтобы, соответственно, посмотрели все в окно.
If you are in the train and you look outside the window and you see the graffiti passing by, all the different graffiti, it's similar as scrolling on your phone on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you see the graffiti in the train and you see the graffiti on your Instagram. Which means on your Instagram, like when I watch graffiti on Instagram, it's half a second. I don't like it, 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 it's boring. It's not boring. So the graffiti writer is like this. You have to compete with all the other photos on the social media.
Ну, соответственно, листайте фотографии, вы соревнуетесь, соответственно, с другими представителями.
And it's true. I think with all of you, you all know Banksy, but you know him from media. I don't think everybody knows Banksy, because Banksy's everywhere. You know him from internet and the media. So, for example, this is TAPS, TAPS. You see them most in TAPS, and they started a project called Corporate Identity. You know what means corporate identity? It's the identity of a brand. Like everybody knows McDonald's, and everybody knows the colors of McDonald's, the yellow and red.
Ну, соответственно, понимание бренда, да, расшифровывается.
So Taps and Moses, two guys, they started taking the color yellow and cyan, blue,
Ну, соответственно, взяли два цвета.
and repeating it.
И повторяли бесконечно.
This is, I think, Moscow. See again, the blue and yellow, always the same, always the same.
Постоянно одно и то же.
Excuse me, can you please go back? You know what kurator means?
No?
It's like the dark.
Yeah, I know.
The guys who are watching for.
Yeah, I don't think they care. So they repeat, they make a brand, they make a corporate identity. So each time you think of the colors, you think Taps Moses. And this is of course a joke, it's the trademark. So each time they repeat the colors, repeat the colors, repeat the colors. So everybody knows it's Taps Moses. They don't need their name, they don't need to put out their name, they just have the colors.
Ну, соответственно, только с повторением цветов всем было понятно, что это за бренд, не было необходимости никакой рисовать и писать само название.
So traditional graffiti is a name and a name.
Ну, соответственно, если мы говорим о традиционном граффити, это использование наименований.
But now it's a color and a color, and they are more free.
Ну и сейчас, соответственно, это более свободно используется только благодаря цветам.
So they can do stuff like this and this. So at the exhibition, we made like a corporate gift shop with everything cyan and yellow. You can buy the t-shirts, puzzles, pens, lighters, everything.
Ну, соответственно, все, что вы можете купить в магазине, связано именно с этими цветами.
And the joke was, the name was, somebody has to pay for it. for their hobby, because they do illegal art or illegal actions and they make a name, but it's expensive to travel and to paint everywhere. And legal, the lawyer, it's expensive. But also there are other ways to compete with the big competition.
Ну, соответственно, есть еще другие способы соревноваться с...
Because before I showed you the magazine, all the photos was the same, but also all the movies was the same.
Ну, не только были одинаковые все фотографии, то, что вы видели до этого с одинаковыми цветами, но, соответственно, видео и ролики тоже были одинаковые.
Every graffiti movie was electronic music or hip-hop, and only painting the trains and seeing the trains pass by. But this one is different. This one does storytelling. You know what storytelling is? It's making a script. So you think before what you wanna film.
Соответственно, вы изначально думаете, это как пересказывание истории. Сначала вы чувствуете, потом вы говорите.
So years ago it was you do an action and you film it.
Сначала вы, несколько лет назад это было сначала вы думаете, потом делаете.
But now you plan also the movie.
Ну, сейчас вы его планируете у себя в голове.
This movie is called Checker from 4608 and Fabian Sigurd from Stockholm. And it's about a guy who is a checker. And a checker is a guy who is at the station with his phone and checking for security and police.
Ну, соответственно, джекер это определенный человек, который располагается на станции и who is looking for?
So this guy, the checker, is looking for the police and security.
Ну, который ищет полицию и охрану.
And he's on the phone with the graffiti writers who are painting the train.
Ну, соответственно, он общается с художниками, которые рисуют граффити на поездах.
So I'm gonna show you a little clip.
Ja, hör du mig? Yes, yes. Kolla så att de inte ser oss nu. Ja.
So the guys on the station and his friends are behind the train.
Det är lugnt, ni kan nästan börja. Det är lugnt, ni kan typ.
So the checker is saying, okay,
Man
you
kan
can start
lyssna
painting.
liksom, ni kan börja. Vi kan börja om vi vill. Ska vi börja? Okej.
But of course this is not filmed at the same time. So they filmed the action and later they filmed the checker. So the checker is acting.
Det är två förare på perrongen nu. Den ena av dem byter perrong.
Yeah, so they can paint and if security comes, the guy in the coat said, go.
Och den andra är lugn.
So the audio is real, the phone call is real, but they mix the images, they edit the images.
Har lite funderingar kring
Another example on how to compete with the world is the Berlin Kids.
What's this?
Berlin Kids, they call it. The group is Berlin Kids. They're from Berlin.
Ah, Berlin Kids, yeah.
Who've been to Berlin? You've seen this?
Yeah.
It's crazy, yeah? So they do it in a different way. Traditional graffiti is on this level, and then graffiti becomes higher and higher or bigger and bigger. So I think they understand it's not about the piece, it's It's about the action.
Not about the piece.
Not about the graffiti, but it's about the action.
Ну, соответственно, это касается не только
So I will show a short clip. So they use ropes to climb down the buildings and paint the buildings.
Ну, соответственно, они используют
One day?
Yes, they do it in the evening, one evening. Yeah. So also they work with more people. So two climb down, and others check for police, and others video. We have drones for the video.
Ну, соответственно, группы работают, одни карабкаются, рисуют, другие следят, третьи снимают.
They make really a production. It's a 1 hour movie. I'm doing it on my phone, I'm not playing with my phone. So it's I like this because it's a total package. You see them breaking the doors, kicking in the doors, climbing down, making the photos, going crazy, so it's the total experience.
Соответственно, это определенное действие, определенный процесс, который включает в себя сразу несколько действий.
So if you've been to Berlin, you know One Up, a very big group. It's more people painting the same name, One Up, and this is a movie maybe 2 months old, 3 months old, and it's in Athens, Greece. And it's I'm going to show the whole movie. It's 4 minutes, and it's all filmed with the drone. You know what the drone is? There's also a Russian drone.
The illegal Russian.
Drone. It's a joke. It's called Graffiti Olympics. Also, they make this together with Good Air Boris. Next level. More people see the movie than the actual pieces, graffitis in Greece, in Athens. Guys. Australia, specialized in flying drones. So they planned this very well. They very, let's see if we can, so it's like a proper production. They go to Athens, they think about what they're going to do, they plan everything, everybody's in place, and okay, action. But there's some cuts. There's like maybe two cuts, where it's like, because they are with many, but not with that many. But for me, this is a great example of pushing it to the limit. Because maybe 1 million people see the video, but the real graffiti maybe 10, maybe a few thousand will see the real graffiti. Let me see. Also, this was in the show. Brad Downey was also here. It's a video, and I like it because in the graffiti world sometimes we say no photo, no proof. You understand this? Like, yeah. If there wasn't a photo, no photo, it doesn't exist.
I want to say that on our exhibition we have the same video performance, and we also talk about that now we can't save all graffitis, and that's why we need more new space for graffiti pieces, like internet. Something like that, yes, we have the same Brad Downey.
So I like this because it says graffiti is ephemeral, so graffiti gets cleaned.
Yeah.
But the internet is forever. You know, when your photo is online, it's there forever, I think.
Yes, and the performance, I think, for me personally, give me a thought that graffiti writers now have a lot of problems, and that's why they try to use new techniques as internet to save all their pieces and I don't know, be more interesting, more cool with internet and with all techniques that internet gives them.
Yeah. For example, in New York, the graffiti police is, I think, one of the smartest.
Yes.
So if you paint a subway in New York, and you want to paint another subway in New York, and you use the same name, so if the first day I put Jasper on the train, and the second day I also put Jasper on the train, and they catch me, it's linked. The two graffitis are linked, and I will be fucked. So sometimes the graffiti writers, they paint the train, they take the picture, and when they have the picture, they cross it. They cross the whole piece. Because the picture is more important than the train driving with the graffiti on it. Does everybody speaks English maybe?
Yeah.
Much easier. Also there are stories of, there's like this guy Banos, he's from Australia, he lived in Amsterdam. When he paints a train, he wants to take a picture in traffic. When the train is at the station, he wants to take a picture. But sometimes somebody else takes the picture and puts it online. If you like a graffiti, you take the picture and you put it online. And the guy, Banos, the graffiti writer, was always very angry about this because he feels he made graffiti, so I am the artist, I am the owner. You cannot take a picture of my art. So he was like, when he has the picture, he doesn't care about the train. He hopes the train gets cleaned, but it's strange because that's only because of documenting it and not of actually everybody on the station seeing the graffiti. And I think this is a good example. It doesn't matter if the graffiti was here 1 second. If there's the movie, everybody can see the movie. It doesn't matter if this gate is somewhere nobody can see the gate. It doesn't matter because there's the movie. I like this one from Mobster, again from London, because some pieces are created only for the internet. So this is a piece, I will show it. Once upon a time, a story appeared on the wall, but it only progressed when the wall was repainted. And so, a strange harmony was found between two opposing forces. The end. I like this because as you walk by, you can only see either a few words or the clean wall. You can never see the total artwork. So Mobster is in control of the artwork. Only he has the pictures, all the pictures together, combined to make the story. So he's very smart. He knows his audience is not on the street, his audience is online, or his audience is in an art space, where he controls his audience and he controls his art. No, it's the same way. Also the same, Mr. Main, who the garage doors, the piece with the garage doors, which is also here in this exhibition. He painted like 100 garage doors. Did you see it? You can see it later. Also this piece is made for online. If you see...
Make art, was it Facebook made that?
He did it on Instagram, I think. So to explain, the guy is from Barcelona and he painted...
I think, yes.
It's right here in the movie.
Yes, a little graffiti and he creates some kind of Instagram account, yes.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle. So he paints a piece of the puzzle and all the pieces combined are one big graffiti. So only he knows where everything is and he marks them. But he puts on Instagram, people are like, oh, what is this? What is it? But finally when he finished, you could see the whole thing. It's also in this show, very good. So he understands that it's about the internet. These are guys from Belgium, and they painted this green, Nawas, it's called Nawas, the crew, and they painted this green Nawas. They filmed the whole action of them painting the green Nawas, and when they finished the painting, they put this black censorship over it. So in the morning, people cannot see the graffiti, but they made a video of them painting the graffiti and put the video online the same night, and they put the sticker of the QR code on the train, and if you scan the QR code, it takes you to the video. So people on the station can scan the QR code and then see the video, but they cannot see the graffiti in real life. Oh, sorry. I thought it was a bit slow. So this is Uta and Ether. They are a couple from America. I think he's from New York, she's from Chicago, and they are painting trains together for many years. And they are considered the Bonnie and Clyde of graffiti. Very romantic, but they are very hardcore. They both of them been to jail in America 2 times. 2 times for half a year, something like this. And they were in the newspaper with their faces and their names. She actually was on television, on like a television program where she had to be in front of the judge and say, look, I painted graffiti. So in America it's very serious, they put you in jail. They had to appear in court again because they were arrested again, and they had to go to court, and they were afraid in going to jail for like maybe 2 years or maybe 3 years, because it was already the 3rd time they were arrested. So they were afraid, like, okay, maybe this time we have to go to jail for many years. So they decided to leave America and never come back. So they went to Asia. And it was big news in America because the Bonnie and Clyde of graffiti, they left. So their faces were in the paper, their names were there. But they say, okay, now it's good, I don't have to hide my face anymore. Good, I'm Jim, I'm Danielle, I'm Uta, I'm Ita. No, we don't care anymore because everybody already knows. Because of this, they started sharing on social media their adventures, and you could see their faces. And the whole graffiti scene was like, but we can see their faces, we know their names. This is very strange. And it gave them a lot of fame. So they become very popular. And so they started making videos of their adventures in Asia. They started making magazines. And it's funny because it's like a scale. So like Lady Justice, you know, where if you put more graffiti online of your pieces, you get more fame. but at the same time your freedom kind of falls. So if you keep the graffiti for yourself, you are more free. And they decide to get more famous, to share, but now everybody knows them, they have no freedom. It's actually when they go to Thailand and the American police sees on their Instagram, oh, they're in Thailand, they call it Thailand, like, hey, these guys are here. So everybody's following them, but in this way, I think they are the most popular illegal writers at the moment. And they are very friendly, very, very good people. So they also make books about this. It's called probationification. You know, probation, yeah, Lost in Asia. This book sold out very fast. And it's also because of the internet. Like the book is not in shops. The book is, the grifters made the book for them. So it's sold online. So they don't have to share the money. So I like them because when they have a problem, they see an opportunity. So when it's like, okay, now everybody knows our faces, they say, ah, fuck it, then everybody can see our faces. So they make it into an opportunity. Also, okay, we have to be in jail, but we can also go away and make it probationification. I think it's very smart. You know? Like, it's a good story. So also when I invited them for the show, they came to the Netherlands, and so I have to use like this drug dealer app to communicate with them. And they came to the Netherlands and they meet me, and he was in jail in Australia. So both of them went to Australia. He got arrested for painting on the streets, but when they put him in the computer, the police were like, oh fuck, wow, we have this guy, wow, America's going to be so happy. And they put him in jail in Australia for painting trains for 6 months. She didn't get caught, and she decided to stay in Australia and continue to paint. Because she could never ever come back to Australia again. Or maybe she will also get caught and end up in jail, so why not finish the painting? So when they visit me, they say, oh, we have something nice. Because when he was released from jail, they gave him all the papers, but they also gave him a DVD. And on the DVD was his interrogation with the police officer. So the police officer showing him the photos. Was this you? And each time he's saying, no comment. Do you know Danielle? No comment. When did you arrive? No comment. Is your name Jim? Yeah, my name is Jim. Is your name Danielle? No comment. No comment. And I think this is the #1 rule in graffiti. You don't say anything. If you don't say anything, you're okay. Because it's called self-snitching. If you say too much, it's going to be used against you. And of course you don't talk about other people. So they decided to share this.
Has been jailed after a rampage across Melbourne's train stations. Jim Harper will spend 6 months behind bars, then will be deported to the US as soon as his time's up.
We start to see a mural. We see a mural on a train out of Bayswater. Tell me anything about that?
No comment.
Oh, sorry, image 1.
No comment.
Can you already tell us what you see in the photo?
No comment.
Image 2.
No comment.
When you lay those out, it looks to be the outline of Nokia, or Nokiar. Does that mean anything to yourself?
No
Can you
comment.
tell me anything about that word?
No comment.
I've got a whole series.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not going to comment on
Yeah.
really anyone.
which is number 6.
No comment.
So they paint a lot. They paint many trains. So the guys, she's saying no comment, no comment. But so we put this in the show, and after the show they put it online, and everybody was like, oh, what the fuck? They are putting themselves online and in the police station. But they are like, yeah, but it's the reality. Everybody can see it.
One more question.
Yeah.
Those guys who were making trademarks, they had a shop.
Tops and Moses, yeah.
Yeah, the police didn't ask any questions about these guys could be, no?
You know, the Tops and Moses also made a big book on all of their actions. It's a very popular book. So it's like when I book them in a hotel, I'm not booking them under a real name or booking them under. I'm as a curator, I'm the only person who knows who they are. So in this way, they are safe. So we pay them cash, for example. We don't transfer them any money. And same with Uta and Ita. They live off the grid. They don't live in the society we live in. They live outside of society. But maybe it happens. So they have art shows a lot. For example, the trademark guys in Hamburg, they have a show, I think, in the middle of April. For sure, the undercover police being there. Because they also know not only Tops and Moses are there, but there are more people there. You know, also other graffiti writers are there. For sure, they will take pictures of the people there. There's like one of the guys of Tops and Moses, there's like a 30-minute television program focused on him. It's like a police program about der Jacht auf der Moses, hunting Moses, it's called. And they go to his house, they go to his staff, trying to find stuff about him. But this also helps the fame of Moses, of course. And Americans, I think they always take it a step further because, I don't know why, but they seem to know what's proof or what's not proof. So you see their faces, but maybe as soon as they start painting, you don't see their faces. They wear the same clothing, but then it's maybe not proof. I don't know how they take the risk, or they really don't care. So they also make magazines about this. So they made a magazine about their adventure in Australia. Spraycation, graffiti bear. It was all in the news. So they made a very nice magazine. And it was nice because on one side of the magazine you start reading about the story of him, of Ether. So the story of him getting arrested, him being in jail, all the stuff happening in jail. And then when you turn the magazine around, you start reading her story when he got arrested. So she continues to paint and eventually, in a smart way, leaving Australia. So and also this was sold out very quick, and they sell it online, use PayPal and stuff like this. So I really like also this is a new way of documenting. It's not like the typical graffiti magazine. But it brings me to the how am I doing in time? Good. Still energy. So I also work for Unlock Book Fair. So I'm also very interested in publications, and not like the typical magazines, but in like conceptual, artist-made or small publishers publications. So we organize it we organized in Barcelona and Berlin, and the end of this year we go to Amsterdam, and hopefully we go to different cities with this fair. So we give space to small publishers who maybe make magazines or make small books or trying to make nice books, so not like the commercial kind of street art books, but like the small published books. And we also organize, so it's very small, like it's just the guy behind the table who actually makes the books, but it's nice because you meet the people, you talk to them, you mix the people, and the visitors who come there are super interested, so everybody leaves with a big bag of books. And we also organize lectures surrounding this, to try to connect all the people with each other. But also, like the grifters, they more and more they start to realize that a book is not so much it's a part of documentation, but it's also an object. So a book is something you can actually have. So it's always a limited edition, and that is more maybe sold as an art piece instead of like a documentary. Because the documentary, this book is, for example, is about the movies the grifters make. So the movies are online, you can see the movies, but this book is about the movies. Let me see. This is, for example, a book made about. This is a book about one graffiti writer, and it's really big. It's like this side of the book, and it's like this big. So this is about one guy. And when this book came out, I think like half a year ago, all the graffiti writers were like jealous. Like, what the fuck? This guy is doing crazy stuff, and he's not only sharing his so he makes graffiti like this. He's not only sharing his photos, but also sharing his stories, sharing a work of others. So he's really opening up in this book, and I think this is the future for graffiti writers. Once you establish a certain thing, you're going to create a book, and the book is going to also, this book sold out in a week, I think. So he explains, and there's some text there, but you don't see it. He explains how he works, how he comes, how he makes his ideas, how he's being creative. And I think this is very cool. It will inspire other graffiti writers to be more creative. There's one story, because this guy always also used checkers, so he always has friends who are, when he is painting, they are in the bushes waiting, maybe if security comes, they call him. But he also paints under the ground, so he paints like where the subways are parked really low on the ground. So there's no cellular, there's no phone, you cannot call each other because there's no reception. So this one time they themselves they made like, what do you call it in English? The telephone line. So they bought like 700 meters of telephone line and put it from above the ground all the way downstairs and connect the phone, and then connect the phone upstairs in the bushes. And it's still there, they just bring the phone and then connect the phone and they hit it. So I think this is like, a story like this you can never hear unless you know the guy or a guy knows the guy. And now he puts it in the book. I think it's super nice. And also explaining how he works, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going around. This is a book of Akai, also a very good artist from Stockholm, I think. This is only stories of people getting caught, or almost getting caught, or getting caught for graffiti, or getting caught for stealing cans. It's a very small book, it's super cheap, you can buy it for €5, I think. But I think it's very beautiful and very nice. This is also a small zine from the Netherlands. The guy is Sam, very active writer. Because when you are painting for many years, I think maybe you get bored. You feel like, okay, he writes same, his alias is same. So he writes same each time, the same, and he's maybe at 1,000 graffitis, he's like, I'm so bored. So he started painting the names of his friends. So all of the friends he met during all of his years of writing graffiti, he put their name on the train. And then he asked his friend to share a story. Share a story of how they met, or maybe something crazy they happened. And he made a small zine about this. And I think this is super nice. This is not so much promoting your own name, but morely promoting your ideas, or maybe your friendships, or promoting others. And also this is self-made and self-published and sold online, which is super nice. Also some other names. This is a book, okay, some self-promotion. This is a book I made also last year. It's called Sorry for Damage Done. I made it with 2 friends. And so I'm from Eindhoven. For many years, the cleaning companies, they drive around with the cars, and when they see graffiti, they can clean the graffiti, and they can pay for cleaning the graffiti. But they need proof. So when they see graffiti, they have to make a photo, and before, so make a photo of the graffiti, and then after, when it's cleaned. So this, we found out about this archive. The city has this big archive, 50,000 pictures of all the cleaners making the photos of the graffiti, cleaning the graffiti, and making again the photo. So we made like a nice selection of these photos. So each time the graffiti is there, and then they repaint it, and that's how they get paid. But it's strange because it's maybe this is more part of the environment than these white things, you know. So sometimes something funny happens. I think this is very funny because they don't clean the wall, because the wall is not from the city. They only clean the boxes, you know? And this box is repeatedly painted and painted and painted. So they don't mind people paint because they make money. And you see the cleaner in the shadow. Again, the same wall, but then a different tag. And here it's saying, "Die cleaner, die." But they also clean like notes. Maybe it's about dog poo, I don't know, I cannot read it. Or sometimes it's pictures like this. Like 80% of the photos were very bad. The shadow of the guy.
All photos
Sorry?
has their, all photos has their, photos that's made services, or you and
So you mean the cleaning companies?
yes.
There were like 3 cleaning companies, something like that.
So all photos are there.
From the 3 cleaning companies. Yeah.
So you don't do the photos.
No, the cleaners. Yeah. So the cleaners have the camera and they clean it.
Okay, and where you find them all photos?
So there was a-
Russia, we don't have photos. You can find photos from cleaner companies, from services.
So the municipality, so the city government, they get each time the photos as proof, and then they get paid. And they keep the photos with like CDs.
So they can like database the whole photos?
Yeah, but like CDs. So we had to put the CDs, and there were all folders, and it was very messy. So we
Yes,
took
very
like
hard.
months to process all this stuff.
Very a lot of photos.
But this was like a treasure, you know. And sometimes you see above the tag is there, but then they clean it with heavy stuff, and so there's always this question, like, is graffiti damage or is cleaning damage? You know, the graffiti is you add something, but when you clean it, you destroy something. Oh, I lost collection. I also like photos like this. This is how my town looks. Sometimes it looks clean, which is very boring, and sometimes it looks like this. I also like this. This is where, so first there comes the cleaner, but it doesn't have the right paint, so his color is wrong. And then they clean it again with another color, so they also clean themselves, you know. This is a good business model, I think. And this is like, this is the last photo of the book. I like it a lot. It's like, sometimes something magical happens when they clean it. So I think a young person writes down who kills our dreams. And then the cleaner comes and cleans it. I have something else I added. And then I'm finished. So you know this book, Somewhere Art? I think it's also it. This is like the graffiti Bible. This is like the most important it's the most important book.
Yes, and maybe after your presentation, all guests can see the movie style works. Henry Sheffield is the author of that movie, and the movie is called. Everybody who knows a little about graffiti knows that movie, because here you can understand why graffiti becomes so popular, the original graffiti, New York atmosphere, a lot of things, and I think it's better for understanding our exhibition, because we have also second documentary, or kind of documentary film, Star Wars 2. It's also very good, but it's very funny, ironic, and made by 2 very famous artists, Veda Silva, Los Angeles. Yes, and I think if you have a chance to see 2 movies, you can compare movies and compare how graffiti was in New York and how graffiti became a different phenomenon, because use different techniques, use internet space, performances, and a lot of different new media. And after that you can go to me and we have like art meditation, dialogue about that.
Yeah, cool. I think the Star Wars 2 is for sure my favorite movie ever. Really, the guys really did a good job. And like, I worked with them, they also were part of the show. Crazy, 2 crazy guys, but the Star Wars 2 is really, really nice.
Yes, they have journey to find who made the piece Star Wars 2. And they came to Europe, to Vienna, to Israel, to find that artist. It's very funny, like funny journey with jokes, and if you see first movie, Star Wars, you understand that they have not parody, but sometimes they have quotes from first movie, and you find some sense, some parts are the same, but they try to focus on different things. The same situation, the same interview, but in very different way.
I always like to think of graffiti writers as hackers. Like, as you would see, it's playing here, right? The Star Wars is playing on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So what you see in Star Wars also is like all the young kids, maybe some are 14, And I think it works like this. So first maybe you had a marker, and the guy writing Taki 183. And then somebody had a spray can. He's like, oh fuck, with a spray can I can do it bigger. And then somebody thinks, oh, but if I put the T not like this, but I put only the outline, it's even more better. And then somebody thinks, oh, but if I do it on a train, then the train drives to the next neighborhood. You know, it's like continuously hacking public space. So I think it's only logical that eventually you hack online space, right? You want to be in the face of the people. But I'm going to show you this project, which is not finished. But this is something I saw online. This is a Dutch guy. He's painting triple and furious. He paints different names. And he is a very active graffiti writer from the Netherlands. He painted a lot of trains, He's a crazy guy. I think he got bored and he said, like, okay. He told people, I'm going to copy the subway art book, the whole subway art book. I'm going to copy every piece, but with my own name. So above you see 2 pieces from the subway art book, and very famous pieces because they were in the book. Because remember, back in the day, not all the kids had cameras. There were only a few people, older people, who had the cameras. Martha Cooper, for example, she took a lot of photos. But of course there was more graffiti, but only the photos, we only remember the photos. So the book was very important, and the guy is copying all the graffitis. So this is from the book, and this is something he made. Again from the book, what he is making. And this is a crazy project.
Very fun. It reminded me like in art school, people copy old masters.
Yeah.
And we copy old masters of graffiti.
So I already knew about the project when he did maybe 5. But then on the internet people were like, look, he's copying, he's a biter. But then he continuously doing it, and now people understand, like, oh, what the fuck, there's another one. And people are trying to find it, and as soon as there's another one, I found one. So I really hope this guy is going to make a book about it, because it's a crazy project.
Where does he live? In Hamburg?
No, he lives near Amsterdam. Yeah, but the Netherlands is so small. You can, with your car, within 3 hours you can visit every village. So another big, and the guy also, when it's a whole car in the subway art, he paints the whole train, no problem. So it's a crazy project. So I hope, this is something I found out on the internet, and of course now people are trying to collect it, but of course the guy himself, he has all the pictures. And I really hope he's going to make a book about it.
This is good because most of graffiti of the years are now being over.
Yeah.
He gives us a chance to see the pieces.
Yeah, and he's the guy who understands now, okay, it's online, because his original pieces, to be honest, are very boring. They are very, it's each time the same piece, so he's not the most interesting writer, but now he takes it to the next level. Trying to copy this is crazy. So that's my story. Any questions?